Today, we are diving into a cinematography breakdown of my 3 latest commercial projects with the one and only Centric activewear clothing brand. First and foremost, guys, what we're going to show you is just the Centric brand video. Now, content-wise, what we created for Centric was a brand awareness video, a Kickstarter campaign video, as they're running a Kickstarter campaign for their high flex shorts. And then we made a third video, which was considered a start engine video, equity video. So essentially this third video is targeting people that might be interested in investing in the company. You know, they want to give the company money, they believe in the company and what they're doing and the product. And so they want to invest in it, and hopefully the company grows and they can profit off of that as well and have some shares and stakes in the company as well. So those are the 3 video types that we made. Now, we also shot some commercial content as well for photos. Brought my man Emmanuel on to do that. But again, I'm not really gonna dive into that too much. I will talk about how we worked together and made the process and we just flowed more smoothly. But I'm not gonna talk too much about the photography because again, you know, my passion is video and that's what we're here for, the Cin breakdown. So now before we get into the goods, let's check out the video.
Centric was born from an unapologetic commitment to performance. For us, dedication to regular movement is the best part about being human. We're also about relentless self-expression. The industry was lacking high-performance athletic apparel in colors we needed to keep that oath to identity. So we decided it was time for a revolution. Our core team are experts in high fashion and engineering, a combination we knew would ensure we found the perfect balance between art and function. The ultimate goal? Multifunctional, multitasking, timeless pieces. We started engineering a groundbreaking fabric that could stand up to anything. Our focus was on fit and durability, but we also want to achieve so much more than that. We want to develop a high-performance fabric that checked every box. Any athlete will tell you that greatness takes time to achieve. It takes practice, routine, and failing forward. Quality takes time too, and we want this material to be perfect. We were hell-bent on delivering a fabric technology that was unimaginably innovative, so we didn't stop till the job was done. After countless hours of trials and testing, a wrinkle-resistant, quick-drying, odor-resistant, state-of-the-art material was born. We called it High Flex, and we used it to create the groundbreaking High Flex shorts. Our High Flex shorts feel like a second skin. They give you complete freedom of movement without the risk of chafing. They have liners that won't roll under pressure, stand up to high performance workouts, sleek aesthetics, whether you're at the gym or working from home, and they come in a unique and versatile spectrum of color, not just black. Fitness is a journey. We're with you as you move in ways you never imagined. And we'll always be pushing the limits of fabric innovation in ultra-modern design so you can move past your impossible and reach your fullest potential.
All right, now that you've gotten a chance to check out the video, let's dive really briefly into the gear. So we used an Ursa Mini Pro G2 for this project as our main camera. Then lens-wise, used a Canon 16-35 f2.8, as well as a Tamron 24-70 f2.8. I did use a Canon Macro 100 f2.8 for like 2 shots when the water is dropping on the clothing. So these were really the 2 main lenses that we used. And then additionally, we used a Black Pro Mist filter just to kind of soften up things a little bit, bloom the highlights, and just kind of create more of that film-esque look, less of like this digitally sharp kind of image and more of a cinematic film. Let's talk a little bit about stabilization and movement, right? So like this is an activewear brand, very high-paced action vibe, right? Like they want the intensity and they want the audience to feel the inspiration, the motivation, the movement, the quick-paced action and intensity. And so with that in mind, you know, we knew we wanted to shoot all of this in pretty much 23:9:8. We shot a couple things in slow motion just to have it, but predominantly all shot in 23:9:8 for a 23:9:8 timeline. And again, almost all of it was shot handheld. Some of it we used like a tripod for a little more stabilization, as well as I did use my Flycam Easy Rig system just to create a little more image stabilization as well for some like the office setting stuff. But overall, it was shot handheld, and again, that's done with intention and purpose, right? Like we want that grit, we want that handheld shake because we want it to feel gritty and intense and action-packed and like they're going to the gym to get in a hard, tough workout. And you know, that's kind of the style that Centric really wanted to expound, you know, a passion and a love for athletics and being fit, being active, caring about your wellness in your body. And so that's how we shot it style-wise. Lighting-wise, we used a Nanlite Forza 200. We also used parabolic softbox as well as a honeycomb grid like I'm using right now, help soften up the image, have a nice, good, soft, clean key light. And then we also use the Forza 60B, and we often use this to create some really cool backlight and create a little more texture in the background on the walls. And then lastly, we use a Godox VL300, and this was just kind of more of a light to help fill the spaces. Again, based on some of the areas we're shooting in, we had a lot of space, a lot of area that we needed to light up. And so that light pretty much always was bouncing, just creating more ambient light that fills the space, feels good, looks good. And again, it's really clean, nice CRI light, like high CRI level. Like we're not using ugly tungsten lights that are in the building and leaving those on, or ugly over-top fluorescence, like to make sure we have good light everywhere, because it's bad light. We want good, clean CRI, and we want to control the color temperatures that we're using. And so that's why we use this light rather than just using ceiling lights or whatever lights are available at the location. Now, talking about the different locations, how we shot it, where we filmed at and stuff. So location number one, the main studio. So this studio we chose specifically because we knew, based on the textured wall with like the concrete and the brick in the white space area, that we could kind of create an office space vibe. So the idea with this project was we wanted to have an outdoor space for working out, an indoor gym space for working out, and then we wanted some space that felt like a nice urban modern office space, right? And something that you'd more so find in New York or LA, not in Orlando. If you live in Orlando, we just don't have like an urban vibe. Obviously, it's down south in Florida, so if anything, it leans more towards the tropical side, and it really lacks that gritty urban kind of esque. It's a lot more like bright, vibrant colors, clean, sleek white, modern, lots of trees and bushes and floral and green, like just not urban grit. And so in order to kind of create that, again, we found this good studio that had the nice concrete slabbed wall, it had the brick space, had the concrete floors. So we knew we could kind of emulate and create this office space feel. So that's really why we chose that location. Additionally, the location had access for us to use spaces outside, right outside of it. So using just natural light, we were able to film a lot of fitness and workout activities right there outside the studio space. Inside the studio space, we filmed all the office stuff. So we used one of our talents, the lovely Nicole, as well as the actual CEO, Ryan himself. So, he wanted to show face and be a part of the video and help expound, who they are as a brand. And so we put him in there as well. Now, lighting up the office space area, again, we use the Forza 200 with parabolic softbox and honeycomb grid for the key light. And then we use the Godox VL300. We simply just bounce that to create ambient light. That's how we really let everything. Again, we just kind of moved the lights as we needed to, depending upon where we were shooting, whether it was Ryan looking at the clothing rack or Ryan and Nicole looking at the poster boards on the wall. Just kind of depended, but really the lights pretty much stayed as they were. Again, we just kind of altered the location ever so slightly. Again, if you haven't seen my videos before, I always recommend that you start with the widest shots first, and then you slowly start working in. So that way you light for all these big wide shots in environment. Then as you work in, it's a lot easier to adjust the lighting and move it around rather than shooting a wide here, then a tight, then a wide, right? Because then the lights have to go from here to here, here to here. And if you're shooting in a 10,000 square foot warehouse, from here to here could be like 3,000, 4,000 feet. Like that's not an easy trip, right? Like that takes a while, and that starts killing out your production time, which is huge. A big no-no. You want to maximize on your time as much as possible. And keep in mind, guys, we were shooting photo for them the whole time for this as well. We needed photo to cover all the locations. We needed photo of them in the office, looking at the clothes, going over the product. We needed photos of them getting dressed, getting prepped, getting sized. We needed photos of them doing the action and movements in front of the concrete wall, outside, inside the gym, just like we did for video content wise too, guys. One of the big things we did in order to make the partnership and flow a lot better, we set in mind to do no strobing, so camera and photo wise wouldn't affect video wise. And we knew we're really good at lighting, and if we light it correctly, we can get incredible photo images as well. So really, we were able to work in great tandem. Photo wise, what we did is we just had him use a bit of a longer lens. And so that way, he could kind of stay back and get good angles and good shots without impeding into my framing and my imagery. Additionally, on top of that, of course, like if I'm doing a lens swap or a battery swap, or I want to adjust lighting a little bit, we'd let him pop in and grab photos for 2 or 3 minutes. Or, if I need a 10-1 or a 10-2, whoops, you can jump in for 5 or 10 minutes and grab some awesome shots. So that was kind of how we worked together, photo and video wise, to make that happen. And again, through strategic planning with the locations and the timing, building out the call sheet properly, I was able to give us plenty of time, to make sure we got all the shots that we really needed. Now moving over a little bit in front of the concrete slab. Now what we did there is we actually just used natural light through the windows. I think we might have bounced off the ceiling a little bit just for some ambient light as well, because some of that stuff we did shoot in slow motion, so we needed a little bit extra light to pump in. But they had some nice open windows right by that slab that let beautiful soft natural light come in, because we've got the nice windows that's kind of diffusing it a little bit. And so we had amazing soft light coming in from there for our key. And then all we did just to create a little more depth and make the image a bit more interesting, because just in front of this blank slab wall, it was a little dull, lacked a little bit. So what we did is we used the 60B, we put a LECO adapter on that and just shot a really nice hard streak of light in the background. And we set that on a warm balance, almost like the sun's kind of peeking in for like a morning glow or like a sunset glow. And it just works so well. It's amazing how much one little change can make such a big difference in the image, guys. Again, this is why I really encourage you to really take your time and light your scenes. If it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right for a reason. Don't just shoot it because like you were like thought of the idea, or you guys talked about, oh, we need to get this shot. Like if it's not working, either get rid of it and come up with something new, or work the scene. Figure out how you can make it better. You can light it better. Oftentimes, again, what I'd recommend is thinking about what is the motivating light? Like where is the light naturally coming from? Is it coming from the windows over here? Is it coming from like a garage door? Start lighting from there for your key. Then start thinking about how you can make the image more interesting. Is it by creating more depth through dirtying up the frame in the foreground? Creating depth that way? Is it depth through having lights in the background, like my beautiful flamingo? Is it adding texture in the background, like we did with the commercial video by shining some light onto the background wall, or just choosing a wall that has a lot of texture? Is it by creating color contrast? So maybe the key light, in this instance, imagine this was blue. So maybe the back is purple, or maybe that flamingo is yellow or red, right? And using complementary colors. There's so many different ways, but making sure that you really take the time to light your scenes, guys. It's gonna make a huge difference. Now, jumping from there, we filmed some outdoor stuff on location. Again, the studio had access for us, and I'm not gonna talk too much about that. It was super bright, super hot. Thankfully, my baby's got some NDs, so just turned those guys on and actually shot a decent amount of the stuff in slow motion again, just to kill out some of that light. And then really what we did just to make the image a bit better, because again, I don't recommend shooting in the middle of the day outside. Early in the morning or late in the evening. These are your best times to shoot. However, based on the client and the budget, we only had a single day, so working with what we got. So we were shooting around actually a little bit past high noon. So the sun is kind of at a nice angle here, and really what we just chose to do was backlight. So we use that as backlight. So yes, we've got hard light. Yes, it's super bright and sharp, and sometimes it's just peaking. It's too bright. We can't bring the highlights back down in post, but it's backlit. If I have to recommend anything to save your butt, to still make a great image, it's always backlight your subjects. I'm telling you, it is the ace in the hole. It is the all-encompassing God power saver, Thanos, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's just the best. I love backlight. Now, moving on to the next location, we jumped over to our outdoor scenes at the gym. Now, the gym just had some cool equipment like tires we could hit, sledgehammer. We weren't really planning to film outside there, but they had access to so much more gear and equipment. And so as a result, we decided to film a little bit outside. We also shot some running scenes there. Again, touching on the lighting, shot it outside, again, just backlight. This was more towards sunset. After the studio, the outdoor scenes, we took a lunch break. Then we met back up at this location. It was around 5 or 6 p.m. So getting closer to that sunset light, it's really, really nice. Beautiful backlight. That's all we used for that. And just to talk about the running scenes really, really quick, nothing changed with the lighting, but just want to talk about how we achieved it. So literally opened the trunk door to my car. I sat in the back, used a sandbag. Sandbags can be a great way of stabilization for your camera and softening the image. I highly recommend it if you're doing some like ride-alongs in the back of the car. That's what I did. So I'm riding in the back of the car, holding the camera. All I did is set the camera on a sandbag so it has nice stabilized image. And additionally, if you're ever looking to get some really cool low angles, but your tripod can't get super low, I recommend a sandbag. It's a great shitty rig version to do it. So that was really how we did that kind of stuff there. And then lastly, inside the gym space, we had beautiful natural light bleeding through. They had a ton of windows, and thankfully they were all, they had them on both sides, but thankfully they had, windows rolling along the side, having that beautiful natural light bleeding in from the sun. And guys, this is where location scouting becomes in so much hand. I knew from this location that these windows were gonna be here with sunset. We were gonna have some beautiful light bleeding through. One of the best apps I recommend you getting is called Sunseeker. I think it's like $10, but it's an amazing app that lets you track literally where the sun is gonna be throughout the day. And so if you take this with you on location scouts, and if you're scouting at the right times, like knowing when you're gonna be on locations, you can actually determine like, okay, the sun's gonna be here at 3 o'clock, the sun's gonna be here at 8 o'clock. And so you can kind of plan and alter your schedule according to this to make sure you're getting the sun bleeding through those windows. You're getting a beautiful backlit light with the sun on a balcony at this mansion or whatever have you, right? Just thinking these things through a bit more. So we had that awesome natural light coming in. It was filling up the space, but again, this gym is like 12,000 square feet. It's a big gym. And so that wasn't nearly enough light to fill the whole space. So we used the Godox VL300. Again, just shine that up to fill and create ambient light. Then we used my Godox TL60 tube lights. We used those for some light on subjects, kind of Hollywooding those in for specific things, like when Nicole's riding on the bike. We did it sometimes as well when Danny was boxing. We also did it with Garrett a little bit as well when he was boxing. But predominantly, we just used the Forza 200 with a parabolic softbox, and again, the honeycomb grid for the key light. Again, I love using the softbox, creates a nice, beautiful, soft light, controls the image a bit more and the lighting a bit more, shapes it better. And then my favorite thing adding on there is that honeycomb grid. For something like this, guys, again, we're trying to create that hard knocks, gritty, I'm going to the gym to sweat, to get it in. I'm trying to get better, baby. And so to show that again, even more, I wanted to use the honeycomb grid because again, that just helps further shape and control the light. If you don't understand what the big difference with the honeycomb grid and without, honeycomb grid is again, just controlling and shaping your light more. So when you have a parabolic softbox, the light is gonna be soft, but it's still gonna shoot everywhere in the room. What a honeycomb grid essentially allows you to do is rather than say I am the key light, right? I'm shining everywhere. Honeycomb grid, it's kind of these blocks of rectangles that'll then place and you'll attach in front of your light that then rather than letting the light shine everywhere, it controls and just has the light going here, right? So much more controlled light source. God, I look so crazy doing this with my hands. I'm like one of the flagger guys at the airport. But it works, guys. It creates a much more controlled look. And for me, I think a much more moody and gritty and just badass look, which is perfect for commercial content like this. And lastly, lighting wise, guys, we used some Nainlight Pavo tubes, 6Cs. And I have 4 of them myself. One of my business partners, Herb, he has 4 or 5 himself as well. And so we used like all of those and we just lined them on the back wall. And what's great about this gym is the walls were metal. And so again, these lights are fantastic because they have magnets in them. And so we literally were able to just attach them right onto the wall. And so that was another form of backlight. But again, more importantly, not necessarily in the sense of like, it's lighting them in the back. Like, no, like they're not getting a strong edging or hair light or anything like that. But it's backlight in the sense that again, we're creating layers, we're creating depth in the image. If we didn't have these lights in the background, everything would just fall off to black and fade out to black. They'd get lost in that darkness, right? Because like it'd go from seeing them to dark abyss, nothingness is there, right? So having these lights, putting them in the background creates more depth. It makes the image more interesting, more engaging. And that's really how we lit everything, guys. There's no way I could have accomplished this shoot and this production myself. So that's why I brought Herb and OT and Emmanuel out. So these are great friends of mine. Herb, he's always on set, always helping me out. OT as well, and Emmanuel as well. So I knew I had to delegate and get help. And so I had Herb really helping as assistant director and kind of line producer, making sure that we're moving accordingly and the logistics are working and we're getting all the shots we need to get to on the day of, because we have a shot list and we did good pre-production planning ahead. Something to help guide you, something you work on with the client so you both are on the same page, communicate well, you know the right direction to go with the project, etc. But we did have a shot list as well, so helping a lot with that. OT, assistant camera, you don't know what that is, they kind of help build out the camera, get lenses, monitors, do battery swaps, all that kind of different stuff, helping and assisting the director of photography, which was me, as well as I was the director. And then Emmanuel obviously was our staff photographer doing all the commercial photography work for this project. And then lastly, we did this project in June. June was probably the craziest month of my life. Jordan, my man, the dude editing this video you're watching right now, I could not have done it without him. He did an incredible job editing the video. So to talk a little bit more about that, delegation is just so huge, guys. As you continue to grow and scale, you're gonna need help. You can't do everything yourself. There's not enough time in the day. I am telling you, trust me. And so Jordan has continued to save my tail time and time again, just with how busy I am with work and projects. And I don't say that here to brag like I'm something special. Again, I'm probably not that well known in the world right now. I will be, just you watch. But nonetheless, he's just a huge, huge help. And it's so important to build a crew, build a team, and to work together, help each other grow and build and prosper. And so quick shout out to Jordan for all the help here. And guys, I wanna bring that up and I talk about that here too as well, because I don't wanna sit here and claim like everything's myself, everything's Kyle, it's Cal Visuals, like I do everything, I'm perfect, I'm the best. Like no, not a chance. I need and I use help all the time with every single project. Quickly learned in my career, you cannot do it all by yourself. So sorry guys, this is a random side rant I'm just getting on, but I'm so damn passionate about this industry and this career, and I want you all to succeed and not have to learn through the mistakes that I made. So delegation is key, guys. Build a team, build a crew, work together, and scale up. I'll see y'all at the top. All right, that's it for this week's episode, guys. I'll see y'all at the top. All right, y'all, that's it for this week's episode. Much love. All right, y'all, that's it for this week's episode. All love. I don't know, Jordan. Pick one of those. Whatever. Peace.